fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you.
You're going to read Kathy.
Hello, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. This is our 154th show. I am your host, and my name is Rosemary LaChance, and I'm an energy healer and a spiritual therapist.
Oh, and I'm Jimmy Driscoll, actor, writer, producer.
And director, right?
And director.
We are co-hosts for this thought-provoking series and are dedicated to providing you with food for thought information and answers to all modalities of alternative healing, spiritual development, animal welfare, environmental concerns, and so much more in the form of guest speakers who are experts in their fields. Our format has changed. We now have a live call-in show, and the phone number is 907-904-04. I think that's 203-904-0436. You may call in from 8 to 9 o'clock in this original hour and on this date only and speak to our guests or to us with any questions you may have or just to say hello. To find out what shows are playing in your area and when they are playing, please contact the public service channel in your town. To find out their website, giving you their address and phone numbers, please check my website where you'll find a list of all the towns that air this show under Healing Outside the Box. We will give you my address at the end of the show. Please like us on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box, where you can learn about and see pictures of our past guests and ask questions or leave a comment. We welcome your calls to ask questions of the guest or Rosemary and her co-host. Enjoy the show. Okay. Do you want to read the bio? You want me to do that?
I can read it.
Yeah,
No
okay.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, our guest today is Kathy LaBella. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist and a certified health and fitness specialist and personal trainer with the American Council on Exercise. She maintains a private practice in Waterford, Connecticut, providing individual consultations, lectures, and webinars. Kathy specializes in nutrition for musicians, sports nutrition, weight management, and lifestyle behavioral change for wellness. She has worked on both the collegiate level as well as developing individual exercise and nutrition programs for a variety of clientele, including professional athletes and musicians. Kathy understands how activity impacts the nutritional needs of the body. She has cycled long distances, run road races, and is an avid skier of 40 years who continues to kayak, weight train, and run regularly. In addition, Kathy has a background in the arts and media and therefore specializes in nutrition for musicians who have special nutrition requirements related to their activity levels, schedules, and travel. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
Welcome, Kathy.
Nice to be here.
And can I add, the name of the show is Balancing Diet and Activity for Better Health. And Kathy is a registered dietitian nutritionist. And the first thing that we ask all our guests is, what made you get into this line of work?
I was already into health and fitness. I enjoyed working out, to swimming, running, skiing. And I had a very big interest in nutrition. I was always reading about nutrition, wanted to learn more about it. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was working as a corporate sales executive for computers. I was also a professional runway model, teaching modeling. And part of what I taught was also eating healthy and exercise. And I wanted to further my career. So I went back to school for my RD, which was 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow. 5 years. All right.
So basically, was it a changing time, like when you were modeling and you were working on your own nutrition? It basically was just you were getting run down, you were running that kind of paced life, and you decided, hey, I need to change something around here? Is that?
No, actually not. I always had high energy. Always ate pretty normal.
Yeah.
And it was just a love for learning more about the medical end of nutrition, learning more about, feeding your body well.
Right.
Prevention.
Right. Right, great.
And fitness, I had a thing for fitness, which is why I also went into the exercise physiology end.
Okay, great.
That's great. So what's considered a normal diet?
A normal diet should not exclude things unless you don't like them. In other words, you shouldn't eliminate things. Diets that say, grapes are bad or carrots are bad is not really correct. A normal diet, with a normal diet, all foods can fit. All of your favorite foods can fit, maybe a little less of it.
Right.
But so a normal diet to me is you should be allowed to eat everything and anything. A normal diet would, however, include higher fiber, higher vitamins, higher minerals, nutrients, which comes in more with the fruits, vegetables, grains, lean meats, and a variety. In other words, a normal diet can be a meaty, somebody who likes meat. A normal diet can be vegetarian. Again, you balance what you like and what you don't like. A normal diet you shouldn't exclude things and say, no, I can't have that. Oh,
like the Atkins diet, which is
Right.
like one of those fad diets that goes on. It's all meat, no carbohydrates.
Right.
That's too much stress on the body. Am I
It is.
correct? Yeah.
Well, not only that, it sets you up for failure. Any diet will make you lose weight, because any diet is cutting down calories and
right.
it's energy. So if we take in less energy, less calories, our body is going to lose weight. But can you sustain on that? So allowing yourself things. In other words, there are things that come up in life, whether it's holidays, whether it's a birthday, whether it's a celebration, and you want to be able to have that cookie, you want to be able to have that piece of cake, and there's nothing wrong in that if you do the balancing act. So a healthy, normal diet can include what I always say, 10% of your calories from, say, sweets and alcohol if you happen to drink alcohol. You don't want 50% of the diet to come from sweets
right.
and alcohol,
Right.
or
Right.
heavy fats,
Right.
Heavy saturated fats, things like that. So a normal diet, absolutely, there's no reason why you're at a friend's house, there's a party going on, you reach in a bowl of chips. There's nothing wrong in that.
Right.
That's normal.
Right.
There's no need to, go crazy or things. Right. I do believe in eating more local sustainability, supporting our local farmers, things like that.
Local farmers.
Natural when you can, not
Right.
all the processed foods. But is it feasible to eliminate every little processed food in our diet?
Right.
You can, but it's difficult. And what do you do when you're out with company?
Right.
You brought up a great a point there when we just talked about processed foods, because I got in a conversation last night, as a matter of fact, with my family. We were talking about, you have to really, you have to concentrate, like you even said, if you're going to have a balanced, normal diet. Now, in like my position, I was in a situation yesterday, simply that I didn't have time to grab lunch, so here I am at a fast stop gas station trying to find something that's going to be nutritional, that's going to sustain me because of my activity as a carpenter, and then just running around, what do I grab, and how to stay away from those processed foods. It's tough because this is my personal feeling. Grabbing an apple and grabbing a banana, okay, is that going to sustain me long enough as I go through my day, or am I brainwashed that I got to eat some kind of more processed food to keep me going? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
To try to find that, like you're talking about, to try to find that balance can be very different. You're switching gears,
Right.
For the normal person, they really have to concentrate on switching that kind of a gear,
And you do want that fruit, because you also want the antioxidants, and that's good carbohydrate too, to increase your energy, but you also want a little protein. And we've all been in that situation where, oh no, I didn't pack enough, or I'm out
Right.
here and I'm not going home yet.
Right.
And you may happen to pull into that gas station.
Yeah.
So I look around for things that aren't maybe so processed, and if you're a milk drinker or chocolate milk, grab that, because right away there's some protein for you.
Yeah.
Some cheese, because then again there's some protein for you.
Right.
Sometimes something to keep you more full may have a little fat in it, and you can always grab some nuts.
Right.
When I'm in that gas station or fast food store situation, I look around more for nuts that will hold me over,
Right.
maybe some milk and some fruit, if you can find fruit. A lot of those places don't
Yeah,
have
they
it.
don't have fruit.
Am I
Or
jumping?
dried fruit.
Am I jumping the gun because I see in one of your cups you have a cup full of nuts there, right
I
there?
do. I actually brought that more for like a portion.
Okay.
Little size. Yeah.
Is that like a daily portion is what you have there?
Actually, it depends on if somebody's on weight control or not.
Okay.
And this is a quarter cup. And what happens is a lot of people think, they grab a handful and then they grab another handful. And nuts are very healthy. Fiber and antioxidants and some protein in there. But if you're watching your weight, sometimes I tell people only 10 nuts a day. And I'll literally say that so they don't go overboard. Just have
Right.
10 almonds a day. And a quarter cup of these cashews are actually 180 calories.
Wow.
So they're healthy, but you don't want to go overboard, and you don't want to get up to a cup having over 500
Wow.
calories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Now, I could easily do that with
there
cashews.
are some really
Yeah.
healthy foods, but again, like anything, it doesn't mean to go overboard. Everything in moderation.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you can load up your plate with, cups and cups.
So what did you end up getting to eat in a place like that?
Well, I tell you what I did is I got a, ready for this? And it was awesome. I got a Manhattan Turkey Club sandwich, which was not, it was rye bread, it was real, it tasted like real turkey. Tomato, of course, celery mayo. I had to grab something.
They could make it up for you there?
It's made. It's
okay.
already made, but it's. I'm plugging. I don't mean to be plugging Cumberland Farms, but out of anywhere that I had to go, the food that they have, because they also have yogurt, they also have fruit,
There you go.
they also have boiled eggs.
Oh, well, that's good.
So it's not like it's not all processed food.
Right.
So they give you a wide variety. So I'm going to just say out there to the audience, if you ever have to go there, I think you'll be satisfied because they do have.
You can grab a yogurt.
Yeah, you can. You can grab nuts. You can grab things like
Yeah.
that, And their coffee's awesome. Okay, all right, enough. I won't plug them no more.
That's cute. But, going back to something you said in the beginning, that's what I used to say when people say, I'm going to go on this diet, I'm going to do the Atkins, I'm going to eat a South Beach diet,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this, I go, but what are you going to do when you stop? I'm going to take diet pills. What are you going to do when you stop doing that? Then you're going to put the weight back on. I said, you got to
Exactly.
have something that you can do the rest of your life. And you're right. That's
Exactly.
That's
so
exactly
that's why I believe
what
in
you say.
lifestyle
Yeah, right.
change.
Because you can't eat the high protein diet the rest of your life.
No way.
Bad for
No.
the kidneys, bad for a lot of things.
No.
So, and that's just one of them. And so, but they all boil down to kind of that, make you eat just a lot of protein and no carbs. You can't do that.
It's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, someone who needs, if I'm dealing with an athlete or I'm dealing with a musician who's touring and traveling, you need a lot of calories. They may need, I've dealt with people who needed 10,000 calories a day, triathletes. But if you need, say, anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day just to maintain weight, these aren't people who need to lose weight. Their percentages they need high protein to repair, muscle, repair
Right, yeah,
fibers,
for
repair
athletes.
cells. But because they're so high calorie, the percentage of their protein in their diet may only be 12 or 15%.
Oh.
And they can still meet all the grams of protein that they need because they can consume so many calories. But if I have somebody more of a woman who is very, say overweight for her size, say if she's very petite, short, but overweight, and we got to knock her down in calories, and we got to say, oh boy, we may have to bring you down to 12 or 1,400 calories a day. I don't want them to lose muscle mass. I want them to
Yeah.
preserve whatever they can, and I easily have them on 30% protein at times, usually around 25, but there are those cases where I have to get somebody up to 30% protein or, they're going to waste away.
Yeah.
So it's all individual.
That's why I think you probably
No, go ahead, because I'll
you
jump
need
in.
someone like that, someone to help you to do that, because I've seen, like in movie stars, Marie Osmond, she lost weight, but then she gained it back. It was Jenny Craig or something like that. And then what's her name? The other one.
Fad diet.
Yeah, the other one. One was on.
Cheers.
Yeah, the one on Cheers. She
Yeah.
did too. She lost it and then she put it back. And it's because it's the same thing. It's you can't eat Jenny Craig for the rest of your life or any of those other ones.
Right.
I mean, it's good to get started, but then you got to get you got to know what you know, what you're telling people. Yeah.
Right. So basically, I usually take a look at what somebody is doing. Like if somebody comes to me individually, I take a look at a food frequency, how often they eat certain foods from soup to nuts, what they like, what they don't like. I go through their typical day. What are they overdoing? Mm-hmm. What are they underdoing? You know, if somebody's not eating enough vegetables, maybe somebody's eating, it could be too much butter or too much maybe red meat, something like that. So it's a compromise, and it's how do we get you where we need to get you. So I take a look at what somebody's doing, educate them on what they need to take in, usually through portions. I have to know the calories, protein, and all of that, but I show them in portion sizes and then ask them to make a few changes. You know, if you can set 3 goals, you can usually achieve it, especially if you set it yourself. So if somebody is not consuming vegetables, but they like them, how are we going to get you to do it? Okay, maybe it's going to the grocery store, maybe it's packing it, taking it in your car, taking it to work, consuming it in a smoothie. So there's a goal that you can reach, and the more nutrient-dense food I can get into somebody, nutrient-dense meaning vitamins, minerals, fiber, low calorie, it's going to keep you full. You're not going to reach for the high calorie food.
Yeah, that's the biggest complaint they get.
Yeah.
And then if they're not reaching for the high calorie food because they're not hungry and they're filled up on more nutrient dense food, then maybe I can get them to cut down on some of that red meat.
All right.
Or switch it out for something leaner.
A question. Do you notice their mindset when they first come to you, trying to figure out, where they have to get from point A to point B? Their mindset, once they've been with you for a while in your counseling, your dietary counsel, whatever you want to call it, do you notice a different mindset when they come back? Are they more energetic? Do they feel much better about themselves? Do you notice something when they walk through the door that you know if they stick with you, they're going to come through with this, and they're going to be a different person?
Yes. Excitement, happiness, less stress, excited that they can do certain things, get active again.
No, but I think you're saying, can she tell in the beginning if they're going to stay with it?
Well, no, but basically how they are from the first day to when they're like midway, you can just see, wow, what a transformation this person has made from their diet. Their whole not just their physical being, but almost their mental their spiritual being. Are they like, wow, you've lifted a veil?
Yes. Yes.
That's great. Yeah.
And I can give an example. Years ago, a woman came to me, and she always ate like a child.
Why?
It was like the candy, the no fruit, the no vegetables. And when she came to me, she literally was not eating any vegetables. And she was married, had kids, and they all did. She just didn't. And when and she never exercised a day in her life. And I hate the word exercise. Actually, I just wrote an article today on not using that word so much. But she was not active ever.
No,
never
it's a good word to use.
Anything.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Weeks later, she came to me, and she was so excited, and she says, I have to tell you something. And I said, what? And she says, broccoli is my best friend. I cannot live without vegetables. I cannot live without fruit.
Oh, wow.
And I got her into a walking program because she had never really done anything. And I started her slow, not intimidating. We're talking 5 minutes, a few days a week, which worked up to 10 minutes a day, and so on. She ended up jogging. She ended up biking.
Wow.
And after 75 pounds, I don't remember the time frame, but it was less than a year. And I just remember her saying how it changed her whole life, how she could never go back to being the way that she was. She liked jogging. She liked biking. She could ride her bike with her husband, who was a cyclist. Just changed her whole life.
Isn't that great? That's great.
Wow.
And I see that now with certain people who I see, especially some older clients who, you know, when they get into their 60s, their 70s, and you think, oh, gee, they're never going to change. And they're working out.
Yeah.
And they're lifting weights.
Yeah.
And their whole mindset, it just dropped 10 years off of them.
Now, there are certain things, certain foods that you can target as far as, all right, so I come to you, I'm a stress type A, personality. I've tried to be an achiever. I got so much weight on my shoulders as far as my job is concerned. Would you diagnose, and I'm going to use that word, diagnose a certain diet for that kind of person that would alleviate this? Because I'm sure there's certain foods there that really alleviate or help the stress in your system. That nutrify and just, because stress is can be so damaging to the body, in so many different ways. We all know that. We can testify to it. I had a scare this year. We thought, and it was stress. So, could you make like a suggestion as far as what would be a really good food for that?
I don't know if there's one specific food, but again, using the less processed foods.
Right. Right.
The less of, say, the chips, the candies, the things like that. And if you can get more nutrients in you, meaning vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytochemicals, that prevent diseases.
Through the form of nuts and
Fruits,
things like that.
vegetables, nuts. Switching out, your white grain for your whole grain, say. Getting in some good fats, omega-3 fatty acids via salmon, things like that, yogurt, if they like dairy products. Getting a little bit more in there. And where the stress comes in, where I see when the person that you just explained comes to me, and I'll get a lot of men coming to me that way that are just so high-strung, and it doesn't matter if they are the vice president of a large corporation. I've had all levels of CEOs to, somebody who is driving a truck to somebody who is building houses. And a lot of men will not take the time to pack food.
Right.
They are always they're always running out. And so that's one of the first things, and they'll say, I don't have time. But if you can set aside even a half an hour to run into a grocery store, gather some things that you can have for the week, your staples. Okay, I am going to bring, I know I'm working 5 days a week. I'm going to buy 5 bananas, to carry with me.
Right.
I'm going to buy 5 yogurts. I'm going to make sure that I have these things so I do not get hungry.
Right.
And just having those little things is de-stressing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're keeping a cooler in the car or whether you have an office, you have the spot for a refrigerator, is where I find the levels with men completely, de-stress.
Right.
And they like it. They like having that available. And they don't have to run out. It gives them more time.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, folks. I see the number hasn't come up on the screen very much, so I want to interrupt to tell you again, it's a live show, and you can call at 203-904-0436. And I will announce this every so often if it's not up there. So give us a call. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay.
Yeah. I want to make sure they know they can call you,
Yeah.
That'd be great. Okay, so go ahead, Jimmy.
We had it recently, one of the shows that we had a writer up here. His name was Joe Bradley, and we talked about his activity as far as writing and writing as a form of meditation, and from meditation to writing and how it all cycles itself and how it feeds itself. Some people treat exercise as a form of meditation. Do you also, personally, do you do any kind of meditation?
I do personally.
You do? Okay.
I can't. not a person who can teach it, but
No.
I recommend to others who do teach it.
Yeah.
And I do meditation, and it's something that came on later in life. Something that my weightlifting was always like my meditation, and my weight training is still that way. But before I weight train, I always do at least 10 minutes of meditation in the morning. I like doing mine right away.
Like, so when you wake up, when you get up, you wake up.
And I have my coffee and my smoothie first.
And then you meditate.
And then I meditate.
Oh, okay. All right. Some
okay.
people meditate
Well,
on
actually,
empty
no, I don't have
stomach.
my
Yeah,
coffee.
that's
I
what I
usually have
do.
my coffee after, but I always get something in me. As soon as I get up, I get a smoothie in me because I know I'm
Your
going
stomach,
to work out.
wow.
I get up at 4 a.m. to
Wow.
work out. So
Oh.
4 a.m.
I like
Oh, boy.
it's
4
my
a.m.
way.
I say, oh boy, I got 4 hours of sleep.
You know what? It's my way of handling stress. To get my meditation, my workout in, to do my relaxation, to do my reading online, to do my emails.
Yeah.
And some people like it, after work, late at night.
No.
I'm one who likes to take a few hours in the morning and just do all the things that I have to do. That way, as things come up, because sometimes my days are different all over. I
Sure.
mean, sometimes I'm giving assignments for writing an article, for putting a program together. Other times I'm out, I still do some rehab work, so other times I'm out in a rehab place seeing patients, and other days I'm with my own clients.
Right.
So I am all over the place, and everything always comes up throughout the day. So I may plan on, say, an 8-hour day with patients. And then all of a sudden, I have to meet with a client.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, I'm talking about an article with somebody, and the phone calls and the emails keep coming and coming.
Yeah.
And I hate reaching, say, 9 o'clock at night and saying, oh my gosh, I didn't get my workout in.
Okay.
How many hours sleep do you get a night?
I would love to get 8 again.
But you don't. If you get up at 4, you have to go to bed.
It depends.
What do you get, 5,
Sometimes
6?
it may only be 4, and I hate those nights. I don't recommend that.
Right.
And that may be like 1 night a week.
Yeah.
But normally.
5 or 6.
5 or
and
6
then
hours?
I would say 2 to 3 nights a week, 5 or 6. And then there are, a couple nights where I can easily get 8.
Yeah. 6 or 7 really works for me. And
It's all different.
It
you
is.
know, and every study you read, and now they're saying, sleep less, and maybe 6.5 to the
They
8
are?
is normal,
Really?
and the 9 may not be good. It's like everything.
You can't
is
listen
so,
to they.
You have to listen to your own
Right.
body.
right.
I used to be the type that could live on 4 hours sleep a night all the time.
Right.
And some people can do that and get by.
No way.
It's probably not
Yeah.
Can't do
healthy,
that, no.
Right.
to go for the long run.
And I wanted to say again, ladies and gentlemen, that this is Kathy LaBella, who's speaking with us tonight, and she is a registered dietitian nutritionist. Okay, just let you know if they call in. All right, so you were going to say something else, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How do you feel about late night eating?
You burn calories 24/7.
Right.
If that's your only time to eat, there
Right.
is nothing wrong with it so long as it fits within your day.
Okay.
I myself, because I sometimes have late nights, will not have dinner until 8 o'clock at night. It is my last meal.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not going to eat again.
Right.
But if you are going to bed, say, at 11 o'clock at night or midnight, and you're having dinner at 5, you absolutely need something else in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing worse than going to bed on an empty stomach.
Right.
I can't sleep if
No,
I
you
have an empty
can't.
stomach. I don't know how
You
people do
know,
when they diet, and I
and-
can't do it.
It doesn't mean sitting down and having a big bowl of ice cream or a bag of chips.
Oh, no.
I usually say, even if you are watching your weight, a half a cup of like some whole grain cereal or something like Hashi cereal,
Yeah.
some non-fat milk, maybe some blueberries in there, or having a yogurt, having a cup of, decaf tea and something sensible, a little fruit or something.
Something, yeah.
Something.
I have to say, even to the audience out there now, and just personal experience, when you change your diet as far as when you say you go to the vegetables and you go to nuts and you go to fruit, as much as it may be a large step for you to do that, because that's not something normal that you do. You're really going outside the box when you finally start this. I have to say, personally, once you do that, and if you do it for a little while, you really wean off that processed food.
You do.
They say that addictive, whatever is in it, we all love. The body loves the body, the butter, the sugar, the oil. We're addicted to that. And once you get away from that, it's really, wow, what a difference. You don't know how good you feel until you feel good.
You lose the taste.
Yes.
Just like salt. People who are salt eaters, and I get them away from the salt, they don't like salty foods after a few months.
Yeah.
But oils, I think, are important to have. Okay, and some of the fats.
Absolutely.
Because
you do need
especially
it.
for women, because without that, they get dry inside and they get osteoporosis when they get old and everything.
The oils we need fat as our second source of energy.
Yeah.
So carbohydrates we need for our energy.
Well, I'm talking like olive oil or
right,
sunflower
and fats
oil.
are absolutely
good oils.
Absolutely,
Not
you need it
soybean
for
oil.
your skin,
Yeah,
you need it for your
yeah.
cells, you need it for cushioning, and you need it for muscle.
Yep.
Because you need intramuscular fat or your muscle will shrink. So you actually need fat. We need
Yeah,
it
you
for
need to have
cushioning.
some of that.
You need it for your hormones, for testosterone,
Right.
for estrogen.
Exactly.
And it is absolutely important to have those healthier fats, to have the omega-3s, to have your nuts, your fish, your olive oil.
Avocados are really,
Avocados.
isn't that a wonderful,
and
wonderful?
Again, I mentioned the portions, and like I said, I brought up the nuts before, and even with the avocados, they're so healthy.
Yeah.
But if you're watching your weight, don't overdo it. An avocado can be over 200 calories. It's like over 200 calories a cup. So I usually tell people, if you're going to put an avocado in your salad, maybe a quarter of an avocado, like 50 calories worth, and that's a good enough, good amount of oil.
Right.
And especially if you're doing just, a teaspoon of olive oil or so in with your salad, and wrap up the avocado. Save the rest of the other days. So absolutely, we do need the fat. We're no longer fat phobic, like in the 80s,
Right,
everything was
right.
non-fat, and that's
Right.
when things got sugar-coated. They took away all the fats, but they loaded up all these processed foods with all the sugars,
Right. Okay.
which are even,
Worse.
yeah, in some ways.
Right.
Absolutely. So yes, we do need fat. Thank you for raising that, Rosemary.
Yeah.
And we can't be fat phobic.
No, we really can't.
We need about 20% anyway.
You
Yeah.
do. You really have to have it. And can I add here that the avocado turns brown really quickly? And I don't know if you know this or not, but a little hint for the people out there: if you wrap your avocado up with the pit, put the pit back in there,
Yes.
store it with the pit, it won't turn brown.
Right.
And isn't that amazing? My cousin said to me when I came to her house one day and bought an appetizer with avocado, and she said, "What's that in the middle?" I said, "That's the pit." She says, "Why is that there?" I said, "It won't turn brown." Really? Yeah. So when she stored it that night, she said, "And the pit goes in the middle." It was so cute.
I usually just cut around mine and leave it in.
Yeah.
Like I slice
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
slice a
Leave
quarter
that
off
there.
and then a
Isn't that
half, and I
amazing?
leave the pit in.
Even if you make guacamole, I put the pit right in the middle, and it stays.
I always thought it would preserve it from going brown with the lime juice, but no, huh?
No, the pit.
Lime juice helps.
Yeah.
Helps, but
Because
not-
it's an
yeah.
antioxidant
Yeah.
too.
But
Yeah.
not much, not one. Stick that pit back in there.
Okay. So one more thing.
I just wanted to help our audience out a
No,
little bit.
good. Water.
Yes.
How much water? How much water do you drink? Do you drink? I know you're
I
very.
do drink water. I'm more of a tea drinker. Fluid is what's important. Yes, water is important, but there's a lot of people out there who I work with who don't like water. So for the ones who don't like water, it's getting fluid in you.
So how do you do that?
Everything counts except for alcohol. So if you are actually used to caffeine, it's not so much of a diuretic if you are used to caffeine. So a few cups of coffee, a few cups of tea are not going to hurt you. Milk. For those who do like seltzer, fine, they can do that. It all counts as fluid. But for somebody watching calories and they like that flavor, that's when I say maybe squeeze a little lemon, squeeze a little
Yeah.
lime. And for somebody who is really, say, overweight and really needs help and they need to wean off of sodas, it is okay to do a sugar sweetener for those who need it. you know, for those who, you know, still want that treat. They still want their soda, or they still want a juice or something like that. We would have to consume so much sugar sweeteners, you know, to really
do damage to the body?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I do want to throw that out there that so much research has been done recently that sweeteners are okay.
You're talking artificial sweetener or regular?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
artificial.
like a stevia or something like that. It is okay for those, not to do excess, you know, but it is okay. But if you do like a little sweetness and you're not a big water drinker, I happen to like water, but maybe an organic juice I recommend sometimes too, and just a little splash for flavor, because a half a cup of juice is 60 calories, so you may not want to fill up on that all the time. But a splash of a nice, you know, 100% juice adds flavor. But we need, you know, that old 8 cups. It varies on our body weight and on our age. The older we get, the less fluid we need. The younger you are, the more fluid you need, and the more active you are, the more fluid you need. I always work in cc's, in kilograms, so the average person, say the average being like age 50 and an average weight, say, you need about 30 cc's per kilogram of body weight. What that equates to, if somebody, say, is about 150 pounds and they're about 50 years old, you probably need about, you know, between 8 and 10 cups of fluid a day.
So why is it you need less when you get older? Why would you say that?
Yeah, your body actually doesn't require that much
because
fluid.
Why?
Your cells are different. Your internals are different. You know, think about as a child. How can I explain? As a child, your bones are more cartilage. The body is different. And as a child, and the water percent of the body. So as a child, we sometimes need like 40, 45 cc's per kilogram.
Okay.
And the elderly about 25.
Well, because I know some other elderly people, I used to be caregiver and all that, and my mother, if they drink too much water, they wash all the minerals out of their body and all the salt out of their body, and they have problems going to
hyponatremia.
They go into
it's called hyponatremia, where you go low sodium, and it doesn't happen to anybody. I wouldn't want to scare anybody on that.
No, I'm talking
if
older
anything,
people.
I'm worried more about the elderly not drinking enough. Because too many elderly, they do take diuretics. So the diuretic, you know, for blood pressure or edema, and the diuretic, the fluid flushes out of them, and they need to replace that fluid. They don't want to get dehydrated. The other thing is that I always hear from elderly, and you know, and I've always done long-term care geriatrics on the side. And the other thing that happens is they're afraid to drink because they don't want to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom. And they dehydrate themselves. So even though elderly need less fluid, I worry more about them not getting enough.
I don't think they don't need 8 glasses, right?
No, a lot of them only need like 6.
Yep.
Depending on their weight. If they're older and they're, you know, 300 pounds, then...
You know, we talk about water, we talk about drinking, and, you know, that's I hear that the most from a lot of people, you know, men, women, saying, you know, I don't like to drink a lot of water because then I have to urinate. And I say to them, well, if you're urinating, that's a good thing because you're getting rid of what your body wants to get rid of, and it's functioning. That's what you really, really want to do. There's a kick that I'm on now, which I was just, this guy's house that I'm working on, you know, he's retired, he had a little back injury, and the rheumatoid arthritis is really starting to bother him. And I tell him, listen, take the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, because apple cider vinegar is really great for rheumatoid arthritis. And it's only a tablespoon in a glass of water, whether you do it twice a day or once a day.
But you put some honey, right?
You can put honey in it. I make a spritzer, a grape spritzer, like I'll do mostly half water, a shot of Welch's grape juice, and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and it's like a spritzer, and all my aches and pains are gone by the next morning. Because I don't get into that because I work with integrative functional Okay.
nutrition,
Yeah.
meaning foods that are functional, like garlic
Right.
and tomatoes that
Right.
have phytochemicals and whatnot. I don't work on that end.
Right.
But I actually have heard of that, and I've actually heard an MD
Say it.
say
Really?
it. Yeah. So I don't know
My
the
naturopath says it.
implications. I don't work on that end, but I have
Right.
heard that.
Right.
And the whole thing is, I mean, it's not harmful. It's
No.
It's it's
Yeah.
food. It's natural. It's not anything harmful. It's not poison. And even if it was a placebo effect, if it makes
Correct.
you feel good,
Correct. Do it.
do it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
agree.
true. So what about carbohydrates?
Carbohydrates. We need carbohydrates. Do you know almost everything we eat, with the exception of meats, eggs, oil, and nuts, is carbohydrate. So we possibly can't go low carbohydrate. We possibly can't eliminate carbohydrate because fruits are 100% carbohydrate. Vegetables are almost all carbohydrate, maybe a little bit of protein, but the rest is all carbohydrate. Dairy is half carbohydrate. And, of course, our whole grains that are nutritious are carbohydrate. So when we say, oh, carbohydrates are bad, carbohydrates aren't bad.
No.
It's the portion and it's the type of carbohydrate. If you are doing nothing but processed carbohydrates, nothing
Processed,
but,
that's the key word, right?
Yeah, the Cheetos and,
Oh, yeah.
the sugary crackers and, cookies, all the, nothing wrong with that now and then. But if that's your carbohydrate intake and that's what you're consuming, you're not getting any nutrients.
No.
And without the nutrients, you're not filling up and taking in a ton of calories. And it's also not, like you were talking about the mind, it's not feeling good on the mind either, and it's dragging you down. It's actually not the type of carbohydrate that we want to give us energy. So yes, I usually have people on about 60% carbohydrates in the diet. Unless somebody is
Good carbohydrates.
good, healthy carbohydrates. Again, depending on their weight, depending on diabetes, depending on their energy level. The athletes may need more, somebody overweight diabetic, a little less. It's the portions. And if you look at, say, regular pasta, 16 ounce, I'm not talking the whole wheat, 13 ounce, 16 ounce box of pasta, okay? 1 ounce is 1/2 cup cooked. It's 100 calories. And if I look at a half a cup, that's only a half a cup. Nobody eats a half a cup
No
of
way.
cooked pasta.
Hell no.
okay?
Exactly. Not us.
Most men eat a half a box of pasta, and that's 800 calories.
Right.
That's what's killing you. So
But
if
I
you
would
can cut it down,
I would eat 800 calories if I know the next day is going to be a very physical day. Now I may
exactly. It all depends on,
Right.
again, if you're a runner,
Right.
you're working hard. But, somebody for weight control, I usually try to get them to stick to a cup of like pasta or rice. Try to make it whole grain if possible. But if you stick to the cup and then load it up with sauteed vegetables or, all types of vegetables on top, you're still filling your plate. And you
Yeah.
still get to have your pasta.
Yeah.
Right,
that's
right,
great
exactly.
energy.
More vegetables,
Right.
less pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Right.
can have your
Yeah.
pasta and lose weight.
Yeah.
But it's the portions. People just go crazy.
It's
over
so hard to do, though. The portion thing is so hard to do. It's almost like you have to eat a little, walk away, stop,
little more.
talk, and eat a little more. Let it digest, and then, okay, I'm filling up now.
We go back and forth with, how many meals a day and how many times a day. I am still, from a personal perspective and from what works with my clients, what I'm seeing over the years, is I'm still a big believer in small, frequent portions. And, say like 3 small meals, but then 3 snacks in between meals. So, if breakfast is at, say, 6 a.m., you may want that yogurt at 10 a.m., and lunch at 12 or 1.
Wow.
And then at 2 or 3, you may
Right.
want some fruit and cheese or,
Yeah.
just that little bit of grazing.
Yeah.
Little bit of grazing. And again, the grazing, when I get people, again, more who are looking to lose weight, if they're taking, say, dried fruit. By the way, dried fruit is half the amount to consume as a regular fruit. So if I say a portion of fruit is a half a cup, a quarter cup of dried fruit is a portion.
Yeah, because it's too much sweet, right? And it's sugar.
It's dried, so
Yeah.
it's the same amount of calories.
Yeah.
So to portion out, if I'm doing, say, nuts and dried cranberries, which are one of my favorite, a quarter cup mixed of dried nuts and cranberries is more than sufficient for a snack.
You know, I kind of like base it on eating when you're really hungry, because a lot of times we think we're hungry, and if we I've read you drink a glass of water and it works.
Water does work.
Takes
it
the hunger away.
Absolutely does.
And you got to look, am I really hungry or am I craving? Because you know
Or
how
you're fidgeting. You want something in your hands.
you know how we are. We're addicted to food because we use it in place of something we're missing in our lives. We use that food. We depend on that food. Or the food is like when we were kids, when you'd get a reward, you'd get food, especially cakes and pies and candy and things like that. So that's like a whole thing you have to break with these people, right?
Everyone has their different things with
Yeah.
food. And so that's where I have to work with them individually. You know,
Right.
what's the problem there?
Yeah.
What are you reaching for and why?
I think that's really important.
Why?
To
Exactly.
psychologically talk with them about these things, because that's what it really is. I know, you know, if I'm depressed, I want to eat something, and I want to eat something really good, you know, like a hot fudge sundae or something. But I say, no, but I want it. You know what I'm saying?
And everybody's different. Some people
Yeah.
go the opposite way. When they get depressed, they don't want to eat. They're
They
too
don't want
sick
to eat. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just both
you know,
ways.
and it can be nervousness.
Yeah.
Probably why I always have a cup of tea next to me when I'm writing. And
Boredom.
anything I'm doing. Well, if I'm writing a story or writing something or working on
then
a new program,
You don't feel like eating, right?
I'm into it, but I always need something there.
Oh, you do?
I always need a
Okay.
liquid there.
Oh,
You know?
liquid, yeah, that's different.
That's what I mean,
yeah.
my tea, my coffee, and
Yeah, that's good. But you don't need a bowl of potato chips on the side when you're eating, when you're doing
No,
something. Because a
no,
lot
not
of
at
people
all.
eat too from boredom. That's another thing.
sometimes I get working too fast, and so the time goes by, and I'm kind of a time watcher. Like, okay, it's been a few hours. Oh yeah, I am getting hungry. And then I get
okay.
up and get something.
Yeah,
I don't
can
let
see that.
myself. I don't let my blood sugar drop. I don't want my, glucose dropping and getting cranky and.
Yeah, that's right. You do get cranky. I know.
Oh, I get cranky. Oh, man, forget it. Oh, yeah, I'm like that Snickers bar commercial. If I don't get something to eat.
Yeah, that isn't that adorable?
Oh, man.
Did you see that
Oh, yeah.
commercial?
I didn't see it.
Oh,
I
it's
don't-
really adorable.
Oh,
They use a
absolutely.
movie star, some cranky movie star, and he's yelling and everything. And she says, "Would you have a Snickers? You're not yourself." And then they take a bite, and then they turn into the person that they really were.
Yeah.
Like Joe Pesci.
Better now?
Was Joe Pesci in the crib? You better now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about how does alcohol fit in then? How do you do? What you do
Yeah.
that?
Thank you. Alcohol and sweets, I say about 10% in the diet. So if somebody is consuming, say, a 2,000 calorie diet, then there's no reason why 200 calories out of the 2,000 can't come from the others. And how alcohol also fits in is not to overdo it, okay? Alcohol doesn't give us energy. If anything, it kind of burns more like a fat. It burns more slow. The calories are higher. Of course, it makes us groggy a little or low energy the next day. But alcohol can fit in. We always say no more than 1 drink a day for a woman, no more than 2 for a man. And the reason behind that is men actually have an enzyme. We both have an enzyme, men and women, alcohol dehydrogenase, that breaks down alcohol. Men happen to have more alcohol dehydrogenase in their system.
How about that?
But they also state those guidelines because it's assumed that men weigh more than women, and men's bone structure is different, and they can actually, everybody can build up a tolerance to alcohol. But those are the guidelines. But and I always say to people, it doesn't give you a right to have 1 or 2 drinks a day.
Right.
There's no need for that. An occasion, a couple drinks, fine. Or a weekend, you want to go out and have a couple glasses of wine, a couple beers, a couple, mixed drinks, whatever. There's nothing wrong in that. Again, it's moderation, not to overdo it, because alcohol can add up in calories. And there was a new article out based on new studies, and it was so funny because it was the way that I've always taught. It doesn't give you the right to have alcohol every day. It was touting wine. is wine really healthy for
Yeah, I
us?
was gonna ask you about wine.
Wine has resveratrol. All grapes have resveratrol. It's an antioxidant, heart healthy. But does that mean that you can go out and have all the red wine you want? No, that would be unhealthy. That would
Bad
lead
for your
to
liver, yeah.
Yeah, it's
alcohol
still
cirrhosis.
Still alcohol, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, and is it healthy to have a couple glasses a day? Depends on the rest of your diet, maybe.
Right.
But bottom line was, what is fine is that couple drinks on the weekend. Yeah, and just not to overdo it. You don't want to binge.
Right.
All right, so now getting back to the protein, what's the best protein for us, and especially for people who don't eat meat?
Like you're a vegetarian, right?
Yeah, so it varies. And of course, protein, for anybody out there who doesn't know, protein is in all of our meats, from red meat to pork to chicken to fish. It's in all of our dairy products. It is in soy products. It's in nuts. There is some protein in pastas, grains, has a little bit of protein, and vegetables have a little bit of protein where you can mix up different things. To the vegetarian things like tempeh, tofu, eggs.
And make sure they're organic, folks, because they're GMO if they're not.
Yeah. In Connecticut, we'll
Soy.
start labeling.
Yeah.
80% of our soybeans are genetically modified.
I thought it was even more than that.
And just to touch on that, whether people are for or against genetically modified foods, we do have a right to know. And I'm happy that Connecticut will be labeling.
You were a part of that, weren't you? Did you help get that?
I was helping out, I was more of an advocate at the time when this was all starting. With the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the Connecticut one, I was the state policy representative. So we worked on issues, whether it was childhood obesity, whether putting more money in, and we also touched a little on the GMOs, genetically modified foods. But where I got in on it too was I was doing some writing on it. And I used to write for CT Watchdog, and I did a really great article on there on it, putting in the pros, the cons, and why it's done.
What'd you find out why it was done?
Well, why it's done, it's to feed world hunger, to make more produce, to feed world hunger. So you get the pros and the cons, but does it lead to invasive species taking over? Does it lead to, genetic modification that we don't know what's going to happen down the road?
Exactly.
Do we know if it's carcinogenic?
Well,
there's a lot of big things out there that we don't know.
Well, soy is injected with, it's all from Monsanto. They won't let anyone else grow soybean seeds at all. They won't let them even have them. They're injected with Ready Roundup pesticide, okay? So everything you eat that's not GMO, that's not organic soy, has pesticide in it.
See,
and what
I
does
don't
pesticide
know
do?
all the pros
it
and
causes
cons
cancer.
there.
I've done a
haven't
deep study on all that.
research
Yeah.
there, so I can't say.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that, basically, we have the right to know.
Yeah, we do.
What we're putting in
and
our
make
bodies.
our own choices.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Just like with just like somebody has the right to reach for chips and alcohol all day,
Yeah. Some people can eat it and they're fine. They're skinny as a rail and they can do all that great stuff, and it's like, I can't believe it.
But so for the protein, we need protein, not for energy. We want protein think of it as our repair mechanism, to repair skin, tissue, cell damage, cell breakdown. Protein does not build muscle, okay? You could eat all the protein in the world, you're not going to build muscle, because lifting weights and activity and running and, different activities are what build muscle.
But don't you have to have the protein in there?
You need the carbohydrate to give you the energy to build it. Now you need the protein to repair it. And yes, you do need protein before and after. When I deal with runners, especially triathletes and runners, I like putting I put a lot of carbohydrate in them pre-run and protein pre-run, to prevent those little fiber tears, shin splints. But we replace some carbohydrate after, but that's when we replace a lot of protein after. Yeah.
Yeah, because
So we do need that
bodybuilders
protein.
drink those protein shakes and all that.
Some of them overexceed it. Yeah.
Yeah,
A little
overexceeded,
excessive.
yeah.
You know, your body can only
I
take
think
in
so.
so much at a time.
I think so too.
But yes, we do need protein, and protein sources, you know, can run anywhere, like I said, from the meats to the vegetarian proteins, vegetarian cheeses, whatever there might be, to eggs. Our better quality protein is going to be, you know, and especially if you're watching calories, it's going to be your leaner meats, it's going to be your eggs, it's going to be your fish. Really,
for
to
people who
get
eat
a
that,
couple
yeah,
fish
right.
a day. I know me and I don't put this on others. You know, all of my clients eat all types of meats. Me personally, it's just been a personal choice forever. I don't
Fish.
eat red meat or pork. I eat fish. I
Right,
don't
okay.
like red meat. I just don't. And I
Okay.
don't like pork. And I have a big family history of heart disease, and there are certain things that I choose personally.
Not to mention, again, if you don't buy organic, you're again getting the pesticides in the feed that they give the animal, which they give them corn, soy, and wheat,
Right,
which is
right, you
loaded
don't-
with
right,
pesticides.
right,
And you know,
right.
pesticides cause cancer, and there's so much cancer these days. It's hard.
Yeah, and
So-
I do, again, I leave it up to the individual, you know, but I do educate on, you know, if somebody can afford it, I'm all for the homegrown,
Right,
the free range.
right.
Yes, absolutely.
True.
The natural meats, absolutely.
Well, we're just about over here now, and is there like one last thought you'd like to leave with everyone before we give your information, your contact information?
Just to start thinking about, you know, especially for weight control, cutting down. Moderation.
Moderation,
weighing it out. You
smaller
don't have to give
portions.
up. You don't have to give up your favorite foods, just
Right.
smaller amounts.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it was wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
Very educational. I think everybody's going to
Jim.
jump on this diet tomorrow now.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to give your contact information now. As soon as I get it up on the screen.
There we
Okay.
go.
To contact Kathy LaBella, it's her email's Kathy@peakperformancerd.com, and her website is www.peakperformancerd.com. And
And if you want to reach me, that's me, Jimmy Driscoll. My phone number, 860-334-9968, or you can email me at driscoll.jimmy@gmail.com.
all right. And now we'll give the rest of the information. To learn more information about this show or any of our past shows, please contact us at a new email address. It's whitebuffalo8@comcast.net, or to reach me, Rosemary LaChance, phone 203-627-7966, or my website is www.rosemarylachance.com. To write a letter about our shows, in case you hadn't called in, the address is NHTV, 127 Washington Avenue, North Haven, Connecticut, 06473. And we're also on Healing Out on the Box under, we're also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm going to read tonight's quote now, which is, "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow." And that's by Melanie Beattie. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Good night.
That music is awesome.
What music?
The river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand. Fear's not allowed, where dreams can be lost or found. Feel your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort glow inside you.
You gonna read Kathy?
Hello.